I gave DeRusso with the Majestic rider, so the Peebo went a little crazy, and so I don't know what it videotaped it, what it didn't, so we're just going to start again. So I have a Trotty horse here. He was a speed racker, and we're trying to get so he gaits slower and he gaits smoother. His speed rack, if you go fast, is quite smooth on the road, but in the arena, it's not as smooth because the arena footing makes a Trotty horse even trottier. So when they are on the trotty side, it does not mean your horse won't gait. It just means its legs are too separated. So the idea is we're trying to bring the legs that are on the same side, so say his left front and left hind, closer together instead of being farther apart. It's the opposite of pacey horses. With pacey horses, you're trying to separate their legs more. So with the trotty horse, you don't want to bring its head way down because that makes it trot more. But we also, once you figure out your own horse, don't have to bring its head super high over time. We might have to invert them in the beginning to help them, but then over time we can do other things to get them to go a little bit more lateral and get their gait. So his head is neutral right now. That's just fine. So I don't want it really much lower than it is. I just want to keep it there. So what I'm going to ask him to do is we're just trying to get a flat walk, and then we'll try to go to an intermediate gait like a saddle gait or a running walk or a foxtrot. But right now we just want the flat walk. So with trotty horses, if you kind of turn their head in, see how I'm kind of bumping his head? If you turn their head in, a lot of times their legs get more lateral. And so it's a good thing to know because all I'm going to do is as I'm asking him to walk faster, I work on his gait. I keep waving the stick to create energy, and then I keep bumping his head to make him lateral. It's much easier for him to practice this without me on his back and worrying about my balance. And then you can also see from the ground, and you can put boots on their legs if that helps you see their legs. I didn't do that today because I'm lazy. So you're just going to have to look at his legs and see if you can see it, and I'll slow it down some. You got to kind of train your eye. You can't do it if your eye doesn't see the lateral. So as you see him walking, watch when I bump his head more, and you'll see those legs still make a V, but it's a little less of a V, okay? And it's just a little bit more lateral. Now watch when I let him go straight, you're going to see the V for longer. And anytime you see a V, that means that horse's legs are more separated. Oh, now he's still lateral. Okay, so now his legs are more separated as his head goes straight. So this horse could not gait at all on the ground in the beginning. His legs were very separated, and just from me bumping his head and making him walk with his head sideways has made him more lateral. So again, you got to condition them to do this, but you only need 10 minutes a day to do it. And don't make excuses. You can do this for 10 minutes. This is the first thing you do in the morning, and then you don't got to worry about it all day. So you want him to become more lateral, which is hard. Again, I have him in a circle, and that makes him more trotty. The footing makes him more trotty. So the only thing that's making him more lateral is me just turning his head, having his head in the right position where it's a little bit higher. A little bit higher. It's not tucked way in. And then I just keep reminding him to go lateral. So when he can do this on his own, I'll probably just bump his head in a little bit to start. And then he'll continue to hold it because he knows I want to hold it. And horses are very nice in trying to do the things we want. So now he's more lateral. Okay? So when you get them lateral like this, it'll give you your flat walk. It'll give you your running walk. It'll give you your saddle gait. It's not going to give you your foxtrot. But he can actually foxtrot on trail now and do a running walk. Okay, so we're going to pretend that was 5 minutes, and I'm going to turn him and go the other way. Now, each horse has a favorite direction. Most of these horses do not know how to lunge when they come in. Nobody has taught them because a lot of people don't do much groundwork with gaited horses, and that's a shame because it can help them so much. And again, you can gait them from the ground. You just have to learn how to do it and get the skill. So again, as he's walking, this is just a regular trail walk or a slow walk. And you'll see that V with his legs. And then once he gets by the camera, I'm going to start bumping his head in towards me and trying to make his legs a little closer together by making them more lateral. So here we go. All I do is just kind of bump on the rope and then keep pushing him out with my stick, okay? And then you'll see his legs are getting a little closer together. So this will work under saddle and gives you a cue that if they start getting trotty, you can just kind of bump their head in, make it just a little higher but not as inverted, and you have something new to help you to get that trotty horse to gait without cranking its head up to the ceiling. So what he knew when he came is that if you popped his head up and hit the gas, you'd feel his back end raise up, his head would come up, he'd hike his knees up, and then he would do a rack. And again, on the road, it was smooth because the road is hard, and that helps your trotty horses. But in the arena, the footing made it an uncomfortable gait, and it felt more like you were sitting on top of the washing machine, and I didn't like that. So by doing this, it has made him very smooth. He's now more lateral. He's got a more pleasant walk. Walk a little faster, Scooter. Now, again, if you're a speed racker, you might be like, don't do that. But the person that owns this horse is not going to be speed racking that much. So they want slower gaits. And I think every horse should have great gaits, starting from a slow walk to faster and faster, and all of them be smooth, not just have a slow gait and a fast gait, okay? So you'll see every time he looks out at the tractors, I'm just bumping him in. And every time I really kind of bump him and get him walking a little faster, like right there, he's more lateral. So if you're not sure if your horse can gait or not and he's trotty, first teach him how to lunge, because you can't teach him all of this at the same time. It comes in steps, so you teach him how to lunge. And once he can lunge well, you warm him up. So he's thinking when you're asking him what you want to do, because otherwise they'll just run around when you're trying to do this speed. And then you start bumping their head in, asking them for more speed, and watch their legs. Now, you might be like, it's not working, okay? But you got their head bumped in enough, so sometimes then it's just the height of their head and the tension in their neck and their back. They need some tension to get the gait with the trotty horses. If they're too relaxed, they just get trottier. So you might have to be like, well, I'm going to pop his head up and make it a little higher and see what happens. Oh, there, he's got the gait. Or I might let his head go a little lower and see what happens. But you just got to try different things and see what happens, okay? So there he goes. I have gotten a lot of horses that people say they trot and they'll never gait, and I get them to gait. And that's my little special reward, is that I proved them wrong. I don't use weights. We don't use angles on their feet. This horse doesn't even have shoes on. So we don't use any of those things. It's just making sure the horse is more finished, like they're not green, that they understand cues. And then we teach them everything a regular horse should know how to do. So every horse should know how to lunge, because it helps you when your vet comes out and you have to show them things. So if they can't lunge and they can't walk on a lunge line, it's hard for you to evaluate things. So with this horse, as we ride him, all we got to do is kind of bump his head in, make him go a little lateral, like do a little shoulder in or kind of a little leg yield or side pass. That'll get him lateral, and then you just speed up. And then if he falls out of gait, say you were walking fast, and he starts falling out of gait, like there he's trotting, slow him back down, keep his head lateral, and bump him back out. So don't let them trot. Anytime they trot, you slow it right back down. And if they keep trotting over and over, try stopping and backing up. So let's go the other way. And if that doesn't work, your horse might just be too tired if they were gaiting before and now they're trotting. So you're like, I'm just going to get one more step of gait or 2 steps of gait, and then I'm done, because the horse is not conditioned to hold it. So that's the other thing. They have to be conditioned. So he's pretty lateral. So we're going to walk a little faster. Now, you won't get them super speedy on the line. That's too much too fast. So each time you do it, you're just trying to get a little bit more speed. Like, can you walk a little faster than you walked 3 days ago? Oh, if you can, then you do that for a week. And then a week goes by and you're like, can you walk a little faster than you did last week? And then they get faster. So you keep asking him. So yes, I do have his head turned in, and he's doing it some himself. You know, sometimes other trainers have done this to him to get them to be more lateral and get their gait. So there he goes. So you see, when he's trotting and I don't want him to anymore, I just made that little noise and kind of bumped him and said, no, don't trot, just walk faster. Many horses don't understand that because nobody taught them to walk faster. They just went really fast and really slow. So it's up to you now to teach your horse. And this is fun. It's from the ground. I don't have to tack them up. I don't even have to brush them. And it's 10 minutes of my day. If you can't afford the 10 minutes, you better get a really well-gaited horse. Because you do have to work with them. Okay, this is a different discipline, and you do need to learn to do this well and get them to gait well. But see, now he's got a nice flat walk, which he didn't have when he showed up. So you know, whoa, if I get my flat walk, all I got to do is over time condition him, get him walking a little faster, and that's my running walk. There he almost did his little saddle gait on the line, which is pretty impressive because many horses can't do that on the line. But again, you got to train your eye, because if you can't see it, you won't know if they're doing it right. And if you rest when they're doing it wrong, they learn the wrong thing. If you rest when they're doing the right thing, like he's doing the right thing, well, then they try to do the right thing more often because they want to get breaks. So he's a very willing horse. He just needs to know the rules, like he can't come into me. And he gets a break when he's doing the gait I want, and he doesn't get a break when he's not doing the gait I want. But I don't want him to go fast. That's not the answer, is to go into it speedy. So again, if he was taught from the get-go to do a flat walk and a running walk or a foxtrot and kept those things up, and then got to speed racking after that, we wouldn't have to be redoing this. Or maybe he was, don't get me wrong, maybe he was, and then it just went away because nobody did it. Everybody just did the speed rack. So it's nice to have options on your gaits because you ride with different people at different speeds. And if I go speed racking on this horse, guess what? I'll be riding alone. My camera just keeps turning. So this might have to be a podcast because I don't know when the camera turned around. Good boy. So I'm just going to go this way. And sometimes, you know, the sun's hitting the pivot and you don't know it, and I get talking and then it's gone. So you might not have all the video in here. We'll just see. I hate talking to myself, and then I can't use anything, or the microphone doesn't go off, and I've talked to you for an hour. That's what happens when you don't have a cameraman. So again, we're just trying to get him to walk faster and get him to stay lateral. And then again, in the beginning, when he did it, he only did one step, and I stopped. Stopped and rewarded the littlest try. Then I tried for 2 steps, then I tried for 3 steps, and then I kept doing more and more over time. So you're trying to get them walking with speed, and again, once you get your flat walk, it's not hard to get your running walk. You just got to keep them going and condition them and get them to go faster. It is hard to do a foxtrot on the line unless your horse foxtrots naturally, because most of them, like him, would just go to trotting. In time, once I get him lateral enough, yes, he might foxtrot on the line, but not yet. And he's just been here a month. But again, now, I can get a running walk under saddle, and I can get our flat walk, and sometimes a running walk on the ground. And again, it just looks like a regular walk with some head shake and some speed. But now he's more lateral. So hopefully that helps some of you that have trotty horses and you think they're never going to be able to gait. They can. See, I even tapped him. He got faster and he still stayed lateral. So with real trotty horses, you're trying to get them to be a little bit more towards the pacey side because it'll just make their gait nicer. And most of the time they will not go to hard pacing. And with the pacey ones, you're trying to get them more on the trotty side, because you're trying to even it out. That's why if you have a horse that paces and trots, well, you're golden, because you'll get lots of gaits. You just got to figure out how to ride it and get what you want out of the horse. Okay, so I hope that helps all of you that are trying to get your trotty horses to gait.